I'm coming in loud and clear. Might hear me on the radio. Breaker, breaker, 19. Anybody got their ears on?
Hey guys, it's Eric, owner of Farpoint Farms here in the mountains, North Carolina. Today, I wanted to show off this. This is a Radio Shack TRC-444. Not a realistic, but a Radio Shack. This is towards the end of the era. They got rid of the realistic brand and just went with Radio Shack for some of their later radios. This one was a great one. It was part of a lineup. There was the 442, which is kind of like a Cobra 19, but a Chrome edition knockoff. The 444 here, some say it's a Cobra 29. Some say it looks more like a Cobra 25. I think it's somewhere in between. And then they had the Cobra 446. Now that was straight up a Cobra 29 clone. This one here, not particularly sought after, but a great little radio. It is based off a Midland. I think it's the 5000. It might be the 9000. I'm not sure. But this one here is important to me, and I'm going to be keeping it up here for talking on AM, because this was my first mobile radio that I bought new. So I started off with the TRC-446 handheld before I had a driver's license, right? And I used to have that thing, and I'd set it up with a base antenna or set it up, you know, and plug it into the wall and use it here at the house. And so that was how I kind of got started with CB. I picked up for my very first car there a Pace CB144. Here's a picture of it here. And that was the first radio I had in a car. And it was a 23 channel, crystal controlled, not a great radio, but for a time it worked beautifully. When I moved to the Raleigh area, everyone talked on Channel 35 back then. Great local community all over the county. I mean, Wake County was just incredible how many people were on CB. The Pace, being a 23 channel, did not have Channel 35. So I saved and scrounged and scrapped together enough money to buy this. It was on sale, and it was a great radio, man. I mean, this thing just has it all. It's an AM radio. I took it to the Golden Screwdriver, who was available at the time. I can't remember the guy's name at this point, but he was able to make it do 7 watts, which was, you know, a little bit better than the 4 watts out of the box. So certainly not a powerhouse, but just an overall good performer. Hooked this thing to a 102 steel whip, and I was able to communicate with most of the folks out there. And so I'm going to go ahead. Here's a close-up of the front. And here's a close-up of the back. And here's a real close-up of the actual, you know, placard that's on there showing all that information. But just a good one. So I came across this one on eBay. I've actually had this as like a saved search for a long time because I've been looking for a nice clean one. This came with everything but the mounting bracket. It's not unusual, and it's not a big loss not to have that. But it did come in really good shape. It also came with the original Radio Shack microphone. Again, doesn't say realistic. It's not the kind of squared off version that most of their radios came with. This one is a nice rounded looking microphone, and it's nice. And it's a 4-pin, which is unusual. A lot of them used to be the 5-pin DIN style plug-in, but this one being a 4-pin is compatible with Cobra microphones. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this thing on, and we'll just leave it low for right now, but I'll go through the switches with you. First here we have the PA mode versus CB, and you can see the dial switches to PA. Then we have here noise blanker, on and off on that. No automatic noise limiter, no high cut, just noise blanker. Here we have dim and bright, so when we're using it in the car, and hopefully you can see this, we could use it for daytime, have bright, and at nighttime we could turn that down. And I did take a couple of road trips with this thing, and it was nice to be able to turn that down at night. And then we have our emergency, Channel 9. This was back in an era where most stations still, or most police forces still monitored Channel 9. So not programmable, but it showed you that it was on and blinking. This little green light right here is a TX RX light, so when you're transmitting it turns red, receiving it's green. And here again is our channel selector, and this one's mint, man. All the dials work, all the LEDs work. Obviously the backlight works, the meter works beautifully. Down here with the knobs, make sure that's not in the way. Volume control right there. And then we have our squelch. And we have mic gain, a mic gain on this one. So with the stock mic, you can pretty much leave it turned all the way up. But I did have a power mic. It was a Radio Shack power mic that I had converted over to a 4-pin, and that took like a weird battery too. I still have it somewhere in the collection. You did have to turn that down a little bit, but people say it really sounded great with that mic. And then we have RF gain, so we can cut out some of the unwanted noise that way. And then finally our channel selector switch. And as you can see as I roll through the dial here, All the LEDs work, right? So anyway, let me turn it up. I've got it hooked up to the Antron right now, and let's see, it's early morning here, and I don't know, maybe there's somebody out there. My original 35 is where it lived. I mean, that was just the station back then. '27's been getting a lot of activity over on the Tennessee side of things, so let's give it a shout out and see what we got. Break channel. Break channel. This is Farpoint Farms in the mountains of North Carolina, trying for a break. 14's our other local station. Break channel. Break channel. This is Farpoint Farms, trying for a break. Quiet morning here on the farm. 6 was active last night for a little while, but we had some storms coming through. Skip has just not been rolling lately. Nothing. I'll put it back on 27. Right on. So that is it, my friends. I just wanted to show this to you. Not a particularly fancy radio, not a particularly sought-after radio, but an actual really nice little radio. If you can find one of these in good shape, it's got the classic chrome look, like most of the big radios of its time, of its era. And it's every bit as good a performer out of the box, anyway, as a Cobra 29, Cobra 25, or a Uniden, you know, PCXL 76 or 70, whatever it is. You know, like most of your AM only radios of that era, this thing was good. In fact, it was a lot better than like the Uniden Pro, you know, 580 or 520, whatever it was, the smaller ones, because it had all these extra buttons and features and functions. You did have RF gain, it did have mic gain, so it had some of the stuff that your pro level users were looking for back then. Yeah, pretty nice, man, pretty nice. Anyway, I guess I'll leave it at that. My name is Eric. I am the owner of Farpoint Farms here in the mountains of North Carolina. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, perhaps you'll think about liking and subscribing. And if you do, well, I'll see you next time. Take care.